Roy Orbison, the man behind the dark sunglasses and that unmistakable, heart-piercing voice, wasn't just another rock and roll legend. He was the voice of heartbreak itself. His haunting ballads and timeless sound carved emotions into the soul of music history. For over 3 decades, Orbison didn't just sing, he defined what it meant to feel. But behind that velvet voice and quiet smile was a story far more powerful, and far more tragic, than anyone ever realized. Roy Orbison, the man who would one day capture the hearts of millions, began his journey far from the spotlight, in the quiet town of Vernon, Texas. Born on April 23, 1936, Roy's life was bound to music from the very start. His father, Orby Lee Orbison, an oil field driller with a deep love for country music, recognized something extraordinary in his young son. He introduced Roy to legends like Lefty Frizzell, Hank Williams, and Moon Mullican, voices that echoed through their humble home and etched themselves into the boy's soul. Then came the moment that changed everything. On Roy's 6th birthday, his father handed him a small guitar, a simple gift that ignited a lifelong fire. From that day forward, the world around Roy faded. His fingers danced across the strings with an intensity far beyond his years, and his heart began to speak through melody. By 7, music wasn't just something he loved, it was who he was. Every chord he played carried a promise of what was to come, the birth of one of the most haunting and unforgettable voices in rock and roll history. When the Orbison family moved to Fort Worth in 1942, young Roy found himself in a world alive with sound, a melting pot of musical influences that would forever shape his artistry. The city's bustling scene exposed him to rhythm and blues, Tex-Mex, and Cajun music, a rich blend of styles that expanded his creative soul. It was here that Roy experienced a moment that would seal his fate, watching country legend Ernest Tubb perform live. The electricity of that performance ignited something deep within him, a fire that told him music wasn't just his passion, it was his destiny. At just 8 years old, Roy stepped into the spotlight for the first time, performing on a local radio show. His pure, crystalline voice captured listeners instantly, and before long, he wasn't just a guest, he was the host. His enthusiasm, warmth, and natural charm made him a local favorite. Roy's talent soon earned him his own radio show after winning a station contest, allowing him to share the songs he loved with an ever-growing audience. But even as his young career flourished, life wasn't without challenges. While attending Denver Avenue Elementary in Fort Worth, a polio scare in 1944 forced Roy and his brother Grady Lee to return to Vernon to live with their grandmother. 2 years later, in search of better work, the family relocated once more, this time to the dusty oil town of Wink, Texas. It was there, among the grit and struggle, that Roy's voice, both as an artist and as a dreamer, began to find its true power. Life in Wink was anything but glamorous, yet Roy discovered comfort in music. He often retreated into solitude, his fingers skillfully gliding over the strings of his guitar during school breaks. His introspective nature, however, was intertwined with a profound self-consciousness, particularly about his looks. His nearly white hair became a source of anxiety, prompting him to dye it black during his teenage years. This self-doubt, combined with his reserved personality, made him shy and susceptible to low self-esteem. Nevertheless, amid these insecurities, his love for music remained steadfast, a beacon of solace and self-expression. At the age of 13, a transformative epiphany struck Roy. He envisioned himself leading a band, sharing his musical passion with the world. With a shared love for music, he gathered his friends to form the Wink Westerners, a band that would propel him toward musical stardom. Billy Pat Ellis played the drums, Slob Evans took on the bass fiddle, Richard West played the piano, and James Morrow strummed the electric mandolin, their combined talents creating a harmonious mix of country classics and Glenn Miller tunes that captivated audiences at local honky-tonk bars and their weekly radio show. In 1953, the band's first live performance at a school assembly marked a pivotal moment in Roy's musical journey. Shortly after, they were offered $400 to play at a dance, a turning point that solidified their commitment to pursuing music professionally. This moment marked a shift in Roy's musical focus as he transitioned from playing guitar to singing, allowing the guitar to complement his soulful voice. The Wink Westerners, driven by their ambition for recognition, entered a talent contest on KAMID television in Midland, Texas. Their victory earned them a 30-minute slot on a local television show, launching them into the public spotlight. They seized this opportunity, performing weekly shows on CID and KOSA TV, establishing themselves as a rising force in the local music scene after graduating high school in 1954. Roy Orbison's journey took an unexpected turn when he enrolled at North Texas State College, choosing to study geology, a practical backup plan in case his musical dreams didn't materialize. But his heart was never in it. Rocks and soil samples couldn't compete with rhythm and melody. Restless and uninspired, Roy soon switched his focus to history and English, but even those subjects couldn't silence the song constantly playing in his head. Music was his real compass, and it kept pulling him back where he belonged. At college, he found kindred spirits in Billy Pat Ellis, Dick Penner, and Wade Moore, fellow students who shared his passion for sound and rhythm. Together, they started making music that blended country roots with the emerging pulse of rockabilly. One day, a catchy tune called Doobie Doobie, written by Penner and Moore, caught Roy's ear. Its infectious energy lit a spark in him, and suddenly, recording music didn't just seem possible, it felt inevitable. When Roy's classmate Pat Boone landed a record deal, it confirmed what he already suspected: dreams could become reality. The group's musical direction began shifting toward the rebellious sound sweeping the nation. A New Year's Eve dance proved to be their turning point. The crowd couldn't get enough as they played Shake, Rattle and Roll over and over, feeding off the wild energy of early rock and roll. Then came the moment that changed everything, seeing Elvis Presley perform in 1954. The sheer electricity of Elvis's voice, his swagger, his control over an audience, it left a permanent mark on Roy's soul. From that night on, geology was history. He dropped out of North Texas State College to attend Odessa Junior College, determined to chase the dream full-time. Even when his band, the Wink Westerners, disbanded in 1955, Roy didn't falter. The music burned too deeply inside him to ever let go. Together with Billy Pat Ellis James Morrow, he founded a new band called the Teen Kings. Johnny Wilson carrying the flame of his musical aspirations and Jack Kennelly on bass during a Teen Kings dance, Roy got to know his future bride, 14-year-old cadet Freddie. The band eventually reached a major turning point in their journey when they recorded their debut single, Doobie Doobie, in the Norman Petty studio in Clovis, New Mexico, in March 1956. The song's release signaled an important turning point in Roy's career. He wanted to end the deal with the new label Gel because he wanted a bigger label that could reach a broader audience. Once they agreed, the band was free to look for a new label to market Doobie Doobie, laying the foundation for their future achievements. This early period of Roy Orbison's life set the stage for his remarkable musical career by demonstrating his unwavering commitment to music, love of a variety of genres, and flexibility in developing his style. The rock icon we know and love today was shaped in large part by these early years. His techs and heart beat in time with his musical journey. Roy Orbison's life and song The Road to Musical Stardom was paved with roses, but it was a roller coaster ride full of twists and turns, climbs and drops, driven by ambition, setbacks, and ultimately triumph. It was a ballad of talent tragedy, and in the end, he was a man who faced both personal and professional battles. Direct refusal to be. Born in 1936 in Vernon, Texas, Orbison's love for music was evident from an early age. He started playing guitar at the age of 11, and by the time he was 15, he had already formed his first band, the Wink Westerners. However, his goal was not only to play music, he wanted to make it his career to reach audiences far beyond his small hometown. The seeds of Orbison's musical journey were sown early on when he formed a band called the Sam Phillips, the renowned founder of Sun Records, was drawn to the band's distinctive blend of country rockabilly and pop music, and their 1956 song, Doobie Doobie, quickly became a regional hit. Phillips saw Orbison as a potential Elvis Presley successor, but the road to fame was paved with challenges after a brief stint with Sun Records. Teen Kings hoped to ride the wave of the burr and rock and roll scene. Internal strife and financial difficulties eventually resulted in the band's dissolution in 1956. Despite the setback, Orbison was adamant about paving his own way. He had a solo career in mind, but industry insiders were skeptical of this idea. Even the renowned creator of Sun Records, Sam Phillips, had reservations about Orbison's solitary and conceited behavior. Orbison's resolve was rooted in his intense love of music, which drove his aspirations and provided him with the fortitude to face many obstacles. He sought advice from Norman Petty because he was confident in his ability and refused to give up. Producer who began recording demos after recognizing Orbison's distinctive voice had promise, refining his technique and continuing to push the limits of his musical approach. Orbison started working alone. While these experiences were valuable, they were also difficult. The road was long and demanding, and Orbison frequently found himself receiving criticism and even doubting his own abilities. He even shared the stage with Elvis Presley, touring with other up-and-coming artists like Johnny Cash and Eddie Cochran. Using his use of amphetamines and sleeping drugs had a negative impact on his health. The Everly Brothers' recording of Orbison's song, Clet, in 1958 marked a turning point. Even though this achievement isn't directly attributed to Orbison, it gave him a much-needed boost in confidence and financial stability by demonstrating that his music could be heard by a larger audience even if it wasn't under his own name. However, the excitement of this discovery was overshadowed by a sour dispute with Sun Records regarding royalties. Orbison refused to give up on his dream and instead embraced his love of ballads, a genre that the rock and roll scene frequently ignores. His voice, with its raw emotionality and powerful range, was ideal for this genre, and he started writing and recording songs that displayed his unique style. Despite this, he encountered obstacles. Some producers gave him negative feedback, even stating that he would never be successful as a ballad singer. Nevertheless, Orbison persisted because he had a strong belief in his own artistic vision, and a turning point came in 1959 with A. When Orbison moved to Monument Records and released Uptown, his polished sound and distinctive singing style signaled the start of a new chapter in his career. His unusual voice, with its emotional depth and powerful falsetto, struck a chord with audiences. Orbison's position in the music industry was solidified with the publication of Only the Lonely, a song with sad undertones that topped international charts and catapulted him to fame. His unique style is defined by dramatic vocals and Orbison's success came at a personal cost, but his emotionally charged lyrics gave him a distinctive and instantly recognizable voice in the music industry. The years that followed were characterized by both professional successes and personal turmoil. He experienced the highs of chart-topping hits like Crying Dream Baby and Working for the Man, as well as the lows of a broken heart and the pressures of a demanding career. However, his love for his wife Cadet proved stronger than his fame, which caused his marriage to strain and end in a painful divorce in 1964. Despite the difficulties, Orbison's commitment to his craft never faltered, and he continued to create timeless songs that captured the hearts of millions with his powerful vocals and deeply personal lyrics. Songs like Crying Dream Baby and Working for the Man became his favorites. They reconciled and remarried in 1966, and this time coincided with a lucrative deal with MGM marking his entry into the film industry. Their success in music combined with a newfound sense of personal stability opened up new avenues for creative exploration. His repertoire staples that cemented his status as a music legend. The story of Roy Orbison is one of tenacity, ambition, and the unwavering pursuit of musical excellence. In spite of obstacles, criticism, and personal hardships, he became a musical powerhouse and left behind a legacy of stirring ballads and a unique vocal style that still inspires musicians today. His story is a testament to the value of staying true to one's artistic vision, the strength of perseverance, and the lasting impact of music on the human heart. Roy Orbison was more than just a singer, he was a storyteller who used his music to communicate his feelings, hardships, and victories, establishing a universal language that spoke to millions of people worldwide. His songs are still covered by musicians of all generations, demonstrating the timeless nature of his artistry and the enduring legacy of a man who dared to dream big and never stopped believing in the power of his voice. His life was one of tragedy and triumph. From the traveling Wilbur to the lovely woman, the life of Roy Orbison was marked by both spectacular victories and heartbreaking setbacks. His journey was a tapestry woven with strands of unfathomable anguish and great joy. He is a musical icon known for his dramatic stage presence and strong voice. His influence on the music industry is unmistakable, and his legacy continues to inspire generations. The late 1950s saw the start of Orbison's musical ascent, which was driven by a distinctive fusion of balladry and billy and had a deep, resonant sound. With his baritone and complex, emotive lyrics, he quickly became well-known and captivated listeners with hits like Only the Lonely Running Scared and Pretty Woman, a timeless classic that has transcended generations. His success brought him fame, fortune, and a loyal fan base. He fell in love with Cadet, a woman who shared his love of motorcycles and spirit of adventure. They frequently toured together, racing on RAC tracks and visiting far-flung locales. During a tour in England, Roy suffered a serious motorcycle accident that was the first of a series of misfortunes that would forever change the course of his life. Although the accident left him physically scarred, it also served as a turning point, prompting him to prioritize his family and spend more time at home. Although this period of relative calm was brief, the couple's love for motorcycles while traveling together was tragically interrupted. Despite his creative output, Orbison felt a deep sense of disconnection from the changing times and the world around him. In June 1966, Cadet was riding her motorcycle when she collided with a pickup truck, losing her life in the accident. This tragic loss left Orbison heartbroken and alone with 3 young sons. He poured his grief and pain into his music, working tirelessly to create new material and tour extensively. There was a lot I could identify with, so I kind of stood there like a tree that keeps blooming even when the seasons change and the winds blow. Following the death of Claudette, tragedy struck again in September 1968, killing his 2 oldest sons in a fire that destroyed their Tennessee home. This unfathomable loss sent Orbison into a deep emotional abyss, leading him to question the meaning of life itself. In 1969, he found a glimmer of hope when he married. His marriage to Barbara Jacobs, with whom he would have 2 more children, gave him some stability and love, but the wounds from his past still plagued him, affecting both his personal life and his musical career. Although his music was still powerful, it reflected the deeper sense of melancholy he carried inside of him. His work with fellow rock legends and the supergroup The Traveling Wibbs, which featured a distinctive fusion of musical titans like Bob Dylan George, helped him regain popularity in the 1980s. When Harrison enlisted the others to construct a bide for his single This Is Love, the seeds of The Traveling Wibbs were sown, and Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne created an incredible sonic experience. Petty casually stopped by to pick up a guitar and offered his skills, which led to the creation of Handle with Care, a masterpiece that pleaded for a whole album. By letting go of their celebrity reputations, these iconic IC musicians celebrated the creative process and created a musical tapestry that encompasses a variety of genres, personifying the very essence of Americana. Embraces the opportunity to experiment and discover new musical avenues while embracing the spirit of friendship. With echoes of rock, country, and pop blending to form a supergroup that embodied the collective soul of American music, the Wandering Wibbs name was a fun allusion to Lynne and Harrison's studio antics and a purposeful break from the stuffy names of your in-studio magic. Traveling Wilbur's Volume 1, their debut album, was released to much anticipation and critical acclaim, giving. Despite this increased success, Dylan and Petty's careers and launching the Wilbur into the public eye demonstrated that they do, in fact, seem to work extremely well together, their respective abilities harmonizing effortlessly to produce a really unique musical experience. At the height of his career, tragedy struck Orbison's life once more in December 1988. He suffered a fatal heart assault, leaving the arena bowled over his passing, solid a darkish shadow over the Wildberries, leaving a void that could not be filled, the organization devastated by his loss opted in opposition to replacing him, alternatively selecting to hold the specific magic of their short but impactful collaboration the visiting Wibbs might keep to make song, but their particular magic turned into forever intertwined with the memory of their fallen brother. Orbison's legacy but extended a long way beyond his musical achievements. His resilience within the face of impossible loss served as an notion to many, proving that even inside the darkest of instances desire and creativity can bear within the years, on account that his passing his sons Roy Jr. and Alex have committed themselves to preserving his legacy via their work as musicians and report manufacturers. They've ensured that his song continues to resonate with audiences worldwide. They have got additionally shared their father's tale, reminding the sector of his triumphs, his struggles, and the enduring energy of his song. Roy Orbison's tale is a poignant reminder of the fragility of lifestyles and the enduring electricity of song. His fascinating voice, his undying songs, and his brave spirit retain to encourage and contact hearts generations. After his premature departure, his track imbued with each joy and sorrow speaks to the normal reviews of affection, loss, and the resilience of the human spirit. The world recollects him as the massive, a true icon whose music maintains to resonate with an undying first class that transcends the bounds of time and style. So what are your favorite Roy Orbison songs? Permit me recognize in the feedback below, and do not forget to like and subscribe for extra tune stories. See you in the next video.